Breaking news! Something huge is happening in the Baltimore Ravens organization, and most people haven't yet grasped the magnitude of this change. It's not just a coaching change. It's not just a new season. It feels like the beginning of a completely different identity in Baltimore. The front office didn't just tweak the formula, they dismantled it and rebuilt it with a totally different blueprint. And if you connect all the dots, the renewal with young players, the philosophical shifts, the aggressive mentality, you start to understand why 2026 could define the next decade of Ravens football. But here's the real question. Is this bold transformation the move that will finally get Baltimore back to the Super Bowl, or is it the biggest gamble this franchise has taken in years? Before we delve into that, make sure you've already clicked the like button if you're truly rooting for the Ravens in this new era. Leave a comment right now saying, "Go Ravens! My heart beats purple and black." Let's see how many die-hard fans are ready for 2026. Now let's get straight to the point. The Baltimore Ravens are betting everything on the 2026 season. There's no other way to describe it. The organization has completely revamped its coaching staff, injected youth into the roster, and made it clear that standing still in today's NFL is not an option. Under Jesse Minter's leadership, this team is entering a new era, and the contrast with last year couldn't be more dramatic. Last season, the average age of the coaching staff was 51. This year, 38.66. That represents a 13-year shift toward youth and innovation. The head coach has gone from 63 to 42 years old. That's not a small change, it's a statement of principle. And when you look at the NFL as a whole, the trend is obvious. Younger coaches are shaping the league's identity. Teams that go far in the playoffs are usually led by creative and adaptable minds who understand the speed and spacing of modern American football. Baltimore has clearly studied this evolution and decided not to fall behind. But it's not just about age, it's about philosophy. Declan Doyle, at only 29 years old, arrives with influences from Ben Johnson and Sean Payton. This signals a shift toward offensive creativity, modern route concepts, and a more aggressive mentality. On defense, Minter is leaning toward a Mike Macdonald-style structure, the same kind of philosophy that previously made the Ravens the best defense in American football and recently propelled another team to a Super Bowl run. And then you look at how the rest of the coaching staff was assembled. Instead of recycling old NFL names, the Ravens brought in younger college coaches known for developing players. Louis Esposito from Michigan, Harlan Barnett from Duke, Mike Mickens from Notre Dame, P.J. Volker from Navy. This is a development strategy. It's about shaping talent, not just managing it. And that connects directly to the roster. The biggest needs in the draft are clear: offensive line and defensive line. Protect Lamar Jackson. Pressure opposing quarterbacks. Control the trenches. That's the formula. There are other areas to be reinforced: depth at the quarterback position, wide receiver, linebacker, but the foundation needs to be built on the front line. There's also the possibility of a big signing, like a trade for Max Crosby. If Baltimore truly wants to prove its total commitment, this type of acquisition would instantly elevate production and intensity in the locker room. And, at the same time, securing Tyler Linderbaum's stay before free agency becomes crucial. Letting him go to the free agent market would be a risky gamble. Then there's the aggressive route, making a blockbuster move. The possibility of trading for Max Crosby has generated real buzz. From a production standpoint, he would instantly elevate the pass rush. But perhaps even more importantly, he brings attitude, leadership, and relentless energy. If the Ravens truly are going all in, that kind of move would send a powerful message to the locker room and the rest of the league. Another major storyline is contract security. Tyler Linderbaum's future must be addressed before free agency even becomes a factor. If he reaches the open market, the bidding war could get out of hand quickly. Locking him up early would reinforce the commitment to building through the trenches. And then there is the biggest name of all, Lamar Jackson. The extension conversation looms large. The timeline matters. The prediction circulating internally suggests March 5th as a potential date to finalize that deal before the March 11th threshold. Securing Lamar long-term would remove any lingering uncertainty and allow the entire organization to focus solely on football. And that's where things get even more interesting, because when you look deeper at how this staff has been constructed, you can feel that this isn't just about replacing names, it's about replacing mindset. The climate is heating up behind the scenes in Baltimore, and there are important details that fans need to understand. The Ravens want to bounce back and fight for a Super Bowl in 2026 after falling short last season. They believe they can return stronger, but to do that, the general manager must provide a high-quality roster that matches this new coaching energy. And that's exactly where this aggressive offseason approach comes into play. Before we go any further, make sure you've already hit the like button if you've been a Baltimore Ravens fan for more than 20 years. It's incredible to see fans of all generations supporting this team. And if you can, comment something like, "Go Ravens! My heart beats purple and black." Now let's dive deeper. One of the biggest concerns some fans had when Jesse Minter was hired was whether this would truly be a new era or just a slight adjustment. After all, Minter had previously been connected to the organization during the Harbaugh years. There was a real question. Would this be a full changing of the guard, or just a continuation with a younger face? But everything we've seen over the first few weeks of this regime suggests that Minter is not interested in repeating old formulas. The hiring of multiple young, college-driven coaches shows that development is going to be central to this identity. This is not about safe hires. It's about hungry teachers who understand how to maximize talent. On defense especially, this is fascinating. If you're going to bring in a head coach with a defensive background, you surround him with teachers who can mold young players. The Ravens didn't just want experience, they wanted growth potential. Louis Esposito working with the defensive line could be critical if Baltimore targets interior help in the draft. Harlan Barnett coaching the outside linebackers pairs perfectly if they decide to invest in an edge rusher early. Mike Mickens coordinating the pass game from the defensive backs position could elevate a secondary that already has strong foundational pieces. P.J. Volker with the safeties adds another layer of detail to coverage versatility. That kind of structure tells me Baltimore expects to draft and develop aggressively. Now, about the draft, this is where philosophy matters more than ever. The Ravens must prioritize offensive line and defensive line. It cannot be overstated. Winning in January starts in the trenches. Protecting Lamar Jackson and creating interior pressure defensively are not luxuries, they are necessities. There's also the possibility of trading back in the draft. Historically, that would not be surprising. Moving back, collecting additional capital, and targeting a player like T.J. Parker if the board falls correctly could be strategic. It all depends on positioning. But again, the underlying theme is flexibility. And then there's the bold option, Max Crosby. If the Ravens want to make a statement that this is an all-in season, acquiring a player of that caliber would instantly change expectations. He's not just production off the edge. He's intensity. He's tone-setting leadership. That kind of presence can shift locker room identity. But none of it works without internal stability. Tyler Linderbaum must be secured long-term. If he hits free agency, you risk losing a cornerstone piece of your offensive line. That cannot happen. Extensions like that define whether a front office truly understands its core. And of course, the Lamar Jackson situation looms over everything. The organization cannot afford distractions. If the extension is finalized before March 11th, as projected, it sends a powerful message. This is Lamar's team, this is his era, and the franchise is committed fully. When you combine a potential Lamar extension, trench reinforcements in the draft, a youthful coaching revolution, and possibly a splash move like Crosby, it becomes clear why this offseason feels different. This does not feel like maintenance. It feels like reinvention. The AFC is not getting easier. Every year, the path becomes more competitive. If Baltimore wants to separate itself, it must innovate, develop, and execute at a higher level than before. Jesse Minter appears ready to take that challenge head on. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe this aggressive youth-driven coaching overhaul is the missing ingredient that finally pushes the Ravens over the top in 2026? Or do you think the real difference will ultimately come down to the roster moves still to come? Let me know in the comments. And this is where everything comes together. Because when you strip away the headlines, when you ignore the surface-level noise, what the Baltimore Ravens are doing right now is attempting something that very few organizations have the courage to do. Evolve before they are forced to. Most teams wait until collapse. Most franchises wait until failure becomes undeniable. Baltimore didn't wait. They looked at the trajectory of the league. They studied where the margins are won, and they made a proactive decision to modernize. That matters. Jesse Minter represents more than just a younger head coach. He represents adaptability. He represents the willingness to